Hey everyone, it's Alicia Atout, and welcome back to Knotfest Heavy Conversations. This is a special episode where we're going to dive into the latest music offering from the one and only Slipknot. But before we do it, it's my pleasure to introduce today's panel, Staypuft, Mallow, Tori, Kravitz, and Daniel Dekay. How are you all? Hello.
Good.
Woo!
Hanging in there, you know?
Hanging in there. I feel like we have a reason to be amped because we are going to be talking about a record everybody has been waiting for so long, as Slipknot have dropped their first album in 3 years since We Are Not Your Kind. It's their 7th studio release, The End, so far. So let's dive right in. They shared how it contains soundscapes from different moons around different planets and that it would fucking freak people out. So did it freak any of you out? Where are we at with this? What are your thoughts on the album? John, let's kick it off with you.
All right, got to start with me. Great. No pressure or anything like that. No, I mean, I think that this is a really sick record. I think that it's an album that they can be very proud of. And I think it's an album that if you like Slipknot or love Slipknot, there's a lot in here that's going to get your boat floated, I guess, to make up a metaphor. Because like when you've got like Yen is my favorite track on this album. It's got that moody kind of like sinister atmospheric vibe to it, which they bring back a lot through this album. I mean, even starting the album with Adderall kind of shows you that this was going to be an album that wasn't going to be at least conventional by Slipknot standards. Of course, we still got that keg hits and the mosh parts and guitar solos in there and everything like that. But there's a lot to like in here. And I think a song like Medicine for the Dead halfway through the album coming through here is just like, man, that's probably been one of the standout songs for me aside from the singles. And I think that the more people put into this album and the more they listen to it, the more that they're going to like. Because even like, I don't know about you guys, I've only been listening to this album for 4 days since it came out. I didn't have a pre-release or promo or anything like that. But like a song like Acidic, the first time I listened to it, I was like, I don't know if this really belongs here. But after like 2 or 3 listens, I was like, you know what? That's actually pretty cool. And I'm glad that they stuck it in here. So I think that the more that people listen to this album, the more that they're going to love about it.
Right. And Tori, I see you nodding a lot to many of the things that John was mentioning there. So I'd love to get your take as well, what you agree with.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny because John mentioned so many of the same songs that were standouts to me. So I'm just going to tack on to what you were saying. Yeah. I mean, I think what was really cool about this album for me was that the track list is so masterfully ordered and balanced. Like there's just great peaks and valleys throughout it. So I think it's one that's really great to listen from start to finish, because it's like it allows every song to stand out. You're not getting slammed in the face with too much heavy all at once, and you're also not being put to sleep. Like it starts with Adderall, like you said, John, such a standout track because to me it built like a lot of suspense because you know it's a Slipknot album, you know it's gonna get heavy, but you're just like waiting for it, which I thought was a really cool, like unconventional way to start it out. But I thought, like, to me as well, some standout tracks, like the grouping of having Warranty, Medicine for the Dead, and Acidic, again, like you said, John, 3 of my all-time favorites, having them together and having them all be so different back to back was really cool too. So, you know, as I get older, I get more into like the experimental deviations of a track list. Like I like the weirder shit. But then there's also people who are like, give me Iowa 2.0. So this appeases everybody. I think that's what's really cool about this album.
No, I definitely feel like there's a good yin yang to it. And the moment that we actually started this Zoom call, the first thing that Tori mentioned is, I'm digging this record. Like, let's dive in. Which is always so fun for me to see. So, and now let's throw to Dee to get your take on everything.
All right. So the general read in the room is that everybody fucking loves Adderall, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's, you know, just to keep on that theme for a minute. We all know what they can do. We know that Slipknot can sound like Slipknot. I think it's not only a perfect way to start off the record, it's not that far removed from some of my favorite things about like bouncy bass lines and the like major vocal patterns. Like this is the kind of music I love. This doesn't even feel like that weird of a departure, like stepping into a weird zone. It's kind of more of an acceptance of, we're fucking Slipknot. We're masters. We've been doing this long enough. Like good tunes is good tunes, baby. There's no issues. That 1-2 punch that into the Dying song, total like Metallica, like Battery into Master vibes, like epic 1-2 punch. I'm all about that shit. The theatrics of it. And I gotta say, I know it's been mentioned before, but Medicine for the Dead, there's a reason why we're all mentioning it. Super vibey, like you said, John, like perfect placing and like mastodon-y like vibes, like super, super dark and it's like kind of I want to tap my toe a bit. I don't always need to be like, totally wrecking my neck this late into the game. And I thought it was really well rounded. I think there's a lot of cool lore about it, like being the last Roadrunner record. And I just think that the band, the whole story of the band evolves with this record. And yeah, stand out on bass. V-Man, that clarity on that bass tone, bouncy bass the whole time. It's fucking sick. Really, really good sounding record.
We all love ourselves some bouncy bass. Yeah, for me, the record is just sonically destructive in an amazing way. There are some riffs that just hit you over and over the head again and again. Meanwhile, though, there are moments which almost vibe a bit more atmospheric, as we were discussing. They experiment with electronica a bit more. There are even hints of indie rock in there on a track, like we mentioned, Adderall over and over. But what I love, I think, the most is how you hear it and you still know exactly who it is. You know that it's exactly what they want to do. They had the creative freedom throughout all of it. And that's why you can't be mad when these people are out here saying, hey, it took them 3 years for this. This is why we waited, it's different and it still sounds like them. So I think the other thing too is that they're still delivering on the cryptic yet fascinating lyricism and those earworm choruses with every single track. So for me, I'm absolutely vibing with this record. I'm glad that it's a little bit different because then again, it shows growth within a band. And for those, like Tori mentioned, where you want to kind of have those old nuances, it beckons back to other records too. So I think it has that really nice balance.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. And kind of like DK was talking about, like, I know at least in the early days, like right when the album was fresh, there was a little bit of hemming and hawing about like, what are they doing open with a like atmospheric track like Adderall or something like that. But like you go back to volume 3 and that same conversation was had with the prelude track on that one. And that's just a ridiculous intro to get you in before the Blister Exists goes. And like a song like Yen kind of harkens back to something like a Vermilion. Medicine for the Dead, I feel like has some prosthetics vibes in it, so there's all of these different versions of Slipknot throughout their career in this album that then they do new stuff with it. Because like we haven't even talked about Decade yet, with Corey Taylor doing his almost like Miles Kennedy start type of bit. And just like I would not have expected that from them. And like towards the end of the album, and it's a long album too, it's about an hour long, to have a track like that still be able to stand out and catch attention and do stuff that hasn't been done on the record to that point so far, I think needs to be commended.
Absolutely. No, it's a fun record when you listen to it. You can bop around, beckoning back to those bouncy bass lines. And there are times where you can thrash and other times you're just chilling out. And I think that, again, going back to just having those different nuances and takes from their discography, I love to see it. It brings back little bits where you're like, oh, this does remind me of that. Oh, I've never heard that before. So why not mix it up, especially when you're at a stage in your career where you can. Everyone's going to end up wanting to listen to this record. So screw it. Do what you want to do. That's what I think it's all about, really. I love all the head
I'm
nods.
with you on that. And I think what's cool too is like we all know Slipknot have such diverse influences, like so many different genres. So like to any fans that are like kind of gatekeeping the situation, saying no, we only want like the heavy stuff. It's like listen to the songs that you like from it. The people who are wanting to kind of listen to everything. I mean, like personally speaking, I thought Acidic was so cool because like there was blues and there was grunge and like there were points where I almost heard Alice in Chainsy kind of energy in that song. And every song seems to have that kind of like, there's so much happening in it. And I thought it was sick in that regard too.
Go ahead.
No, Alicia, please.
No, please, take it. It's all yours.
I just really think we need to give some major props. Like everyone, it keeps coming back to everyone saying, stepping outside of the normal styles and a lot of experimentation and being themselves, an hour-long record, all these things. Like big props to Clown for being like completely in tune with the musical world as it evolves constantly. The band has followed music in a way where Slipknot is once again the biggest band in the world. It's very, very fucking cool. And I love musically where this album's at. It embraces everything that the band is based on at the core of being a heavy, aggressive, different band. And like modern sensibility. Listen to that production. It's got to be, I had to check it on a second set of headphones. I'm like, this sounds way too good on these cheap headphones. Then I put on good headphones. I'm like, oh shit. The dynamics are unreal. The clarity, I can't get over how intensely clear it is. There's no peaking, there's no clipping. It's fucking beautiful. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead, Tori.
No, I was just gonna say it's such a good point because there are some bands where like they've been around for so long and people only come back to the older releases. And obviously Slipknot have, you know, Duality, Wait and Bleed, all the songs we know and love. But it is a whole other ball game to stay relevant and to continue releasing music of this caliber. So agreed, mad props for continuing to release great stuff that will probably reach legend category, or so I hope.
Yeah, and that's an amazing point too, is because like we haven't even talked about which of these songs is going to destroy live, right? I mean, half of this album you could just like put it in and mix and match at any night on any continent, and it would absolutely destroy. Like I don't even think we've mentioned H377 either, which is just like an absolute barn burner of a song, and Corey's just spitting those lyrics or something, you know. So just like, I mean, when I saw them a couple weeks ago, they played the Dying Song, and as I thought, fucking destroyed, like everybody was going nuts. But then like I cannot wait going back to Medicine for the Dead, having just that lull, that atmospheric kind of lull in the concert to bring people down before bringing them right back up again with, I don't know, the Heretic Anthem or something like that. Not that Slipknot's going to listen to me for set list ordering or anything like that. But
it's a good suggestion though.
Yeah, well, they can take it for free. I won't mind. But yeah, so many of these songs, just like you mentioned, Tori, despite all of, you know, your My Plagues and Before I Forget and everything like that, will fit in a live set and still go off like a house on fire.
Yeah, I think the beauty too is if you know the new record inside and out, or if you're going to these shows and you haven't been able to familiarize yourself with it because it is so hot and so fresh, like they're going to start throwing these in and mingling them in between those classic, fantastic, legendary Slipknot songs. And even if you don't know them, they're so catchy and hook laden, those melodic choruses, every single track. You can headbang, you don't need to know the lyrics from the jump, and you're going to leave just having that hymn in your head the whole night. So it's really cool to just think about what it'll be like to see them live and how they'll kind of forge their way into these new set lists.
So Dying Song is the only new song in the set right now. I just looked, right? Dying Song's the only one.
Yeah,
I saw you peeking to the side.
Dude, that's pretty significant. Like that's very telling as to what they might be planning. That's pretty cool.
They're very methodical.
I think the general consensus, and I saw on like the internet, the vibe was like more new songs in the set. Like they're only playing Dying Song right now. I mean, the whole record's out. That's why we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago. I brought it up. I'm like, you know, the album comes out in the middle of the set. Like, are they going to change up that new song? Are they going to like add a second one in? Will there be two sets? So I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see some more of those songs live. They're really fucking awesome on the record. I can't wait to see what they do with them.
I think the greatest part is we always know that Slipknot have something crazy up their sleeves, whether it's going to be releases, tour announcements, weaving these new tracks into there. So we're all in that same page, that same level, where we're just kind of waiting for that next bit clamoring. So I can't wait for it. I know all of you can't either. For everyone watching, don't forget to pick up your copy of The End So Far. It is officially out now. And of course, visit knotfest.com, not only for more exclusive featuring Slipknot, but also to get your tickets to the very current Knotfest roadshow taking place this fall. As I always sign off, just thank you so much for watching Knotfest Heavy Conversations, and a massive shout out to the incredible panel we have week after week. This week featuring Staypuft, Mallow, Tori, Kravitz, and Daniel Dekay. I have been Alicia Atout, and we will see you next time, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.